Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the 20-Minute Dad. I did notice actually in my first episode I was doing a lot of this on the chair and I'd accidentally set the gimbal, as I used the gimbal on the first episode, to track me. So you may notice that there's a lot of this going on, but I've decided on this for this episode number 2 in this series, I'm going to use my podcast studio because I'm not going out and about today because as we speak, I think it's the 13th or something. Yeah, 13th of June. It's been raining for days and days and days, and I'm not going out getting soaked. So I thought I'd just, do this episode here in the studio on a different microphone. As you can see, my Rode set up here in the podcast studio. All at Magoo Studios in Staley Bridge. If you ever want to use it, let me know. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is something that it just came up. I was chatting to a couple of my daughters. And if a young girl, I suppose these days I should rightly say a young boy as well, a young lad as well. But in my mind, I was thinking more of a young girl. You're at a party or whatever, you're having a drink with your boyfriend. You end up having a row. And in a fit of adrenaline, temper, call it what you want, you storm out. And you're storming off home, and you're just thinking, right, screw him, I'm going home, blah blah blah. And it's not for about a mile where you suddenly realise, actually, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm walking down these streets on my own, it's pitch black. And then you sort of like get a sudden dawn of realisation that you've put yourself in a bit of a pickle here, really. And, you look around and you see a guy walking a couple of 100 yards behind you, fair enough. And it's cold, it's December, it's January, whatever. And he's got a hood up and he's got a little bit of a scarf over his mouth, because it's cold. And I'm thinking, you'd be terrified, wouldn't you, as a young girl especially? Would you be terrified? I'm guessing you'd be terrified, You'd certainly be at least concerned, wouldn't you? So this is aimed at the young guys, really, and not necessarily young guys, any guys, but mainly young guys, I suppose. What would you do? What's your best action to try and make her feel okay? And I've thought about this, and I've chatted with my daughters, as I've said, and I'm thinking, if you go up to her and say, listen, love, everything's all right, are you okay, do you need walking home? You could be the psycho, you could be the whatever, So is it better to not say anything? And then she's constantly sneaking a look behind her to see if you're gaining ground on her or whatever, And you could be just innocently going home yourself, just the same. Most of us are not racist, most of us are not attackers, But the ones that don't have it tattooed on the forehead, do they? So it's hard to know, isn't it? So as a young man, what I have always done, and I've done this literally most of my life, although at the very beginning I used to ask myself, why the hell should I? I'm not any danger to anybody or anything like that. But you've got to understand the position that she's in, And when I was a young man, it's a long, long time ago now, it was more likely to happen then. I think today, with the event of Uber and all the rest of it, a young girl can make herself safe pretty easily, I reckon, most of the time. But how many times have you been walking around or in a night out or whatever, on a night out, and your phone's died? So just imagine all that perfect storm, or imperfect storm, if you like, of all them events happening. You've had a row with your boyfriend, he's drunk, fell asleep in this party, and you've stormed out. And a mile down the road, you think, right, I'm going to get an Uber. You pull your phone out and it's stone dead. So what are you going to do? And then as you're checking your phone, you see this guy coming towards you and he's 100 yards away. And he's not got any bad intentions, but you don't know that. So what are you going to do? Are you going to run? Are you going to approach him? Are you going to just try and get home as quick as you can? What's your best action? I'd love you to let me know in the comments, young girls especially. Drop a comment, let me know what would you prefer to happen with this young man that's just innocently walking home himself. Would you prefer him to come up and say, listen, I'm okay, love, I'm not going to do it, do you need a help, blah, blah, blah. Or what I used to do as a young man was cross the road and go on the other side and give her some kind of separation. And that if she actually sees that you've crossed the road, is she going to feel a little better because you've obviously got no intention then, or it certainly appears like that's the case. So young guys out there, or guys out there generally, right? In the comments again, let me know what you would do. Would you do anything? Do you need to do anything? Well, no, you don't have to. And I understand the feelings of, you don't like being suspected of being one of that sort of guy. But as I said, this could be your sister. This could be even your mother. It could be your girlfriend that stormed home without you because you fell asleep drunk or whatever. And whether you fell out with her or not, you don't want anything bad to happen to her, do you? So what do you do? What's your best action? What would you do in that position, guys? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to find out, because my original intention for this episode was I was going to tell you what I would do and what I think you should do, but times have changed, haven't they? So, let's sort of jump in the comments and find out let's get a difference of opinion going here. And girls, what would you think? What would you want him to do? Would you want to be approached? Do you want him to hold back? Do you want him to cross over the road? Do you want him to turn around and go away? Not that he has to do any of those things, but what would you prefer? Let's say you're still a good mile away from home, 2 miles away from home. You've got no money. All your money was spent going to the party or whatever. He was going to get you an Uber home, but he's now asleep and unconscious at the party, your boyfriend. So you've got a dead phone, no money, and you're on the streets at 1 o'clock in the morning, and there's a guy 100 yards behind you with a hood up and a thing over his mouth. You might have a toothache. You're just trying to keep the cold air out of it. Who knows? But that look alone. And in fact, if I can, I'm going to try and get our editor to stick a little picture here of the scene, just a rough idea of the scene of what you're facing as a young girl trying to get home. And so, yeah, I'd be really have a good think about it, guys, and let me know what you would do, because I think I'm 6'2" and 20 stone, so I can look menacing when I'm genuinely not. I can't even see straight, so I probably wouldn't even see the girl unless she was 6 foot from me. But that's not the point. I still look the way I do. I'm no stranger to a fish supper, as Billy Connolly says. I'm a big old unit, and I can understand why somebody would feel intimidated. Obviously, no need with me. I couldn't find my way out of a wet paper bag anyway. And certainly now I can't see straight. So, but again, the girl doesn't know that though, does she? So, instead of me coming on saying, right, guys, I think you should do this, this, and this, and then the girls were saying, well, no, that'd make it worse, or that would be. So I sort of like rethought when my daughters were telling me, no, I'd rather he spoke and said, and then judge for myself that he's a nice guy. You'd have to be pretty smart to do that, especially in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a dark street, in the middle of the night, It's so easy to judge it because, look at some of these serial killers from the past, Dahmer and people like that. They looked absolutely and sounded well-spoken, a little bit plummy in the mouth, and then the next thing you know, you're in a bin bag in bits, and it's just not good, is it? So, sorry to be so brutal with that, but that's the reality of what you're dealing with. If it's a major city, if it's a London, a Birmingham, a Manchester, a Liverpool, Leeds, there's going to be psychos knocking about, isn't there? And I suppose even in semi-rural and rural areas, there could still be just as much danger in many ways. In some weird sort of ways, you're kind of safer in a city centre because there's cameras everywhere and everyone knows that. And there's going to be other strays and stragglers. It's when you get out of the city towards where you live, if you live on an estate especially, and if you live, and you've got these long straight roads that are leading out of, say, Manchester, which I'm very familiar with, that, it's scary, it's frightening. It's frightening for anybody, but I'm sure as a young girl, you must be absolutely terrified. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying all girls are weak, and don't start coming for me for that either, because I know for a fact there's some girls out there that would knock your block off no matter who you are. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be going up to Dakota Ditchever and trying to attack her, do you? Because she'd absolutely stiffen you, wouldn't she? Do you know what I mean? Those of you that don't know who Dakota is, she's an MMA fighter from Sale in Manchester who's just she's my hero. She really is. She's awesome, absolutely. And she's a City fan, so she can't go wrong for me. But not only beautiful, good looking, appears just very slim and all of that. But go and watch some of her fights. Dakota Ditchever. I think she's in the. I can't remember what group she's in now. Is it IPL, something like that? IFL, so I don't know what it is, but she's on YouTube anyway, and she's absolutely awesome. Now, she's a very rare exception to the rule. Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, any of these people, you're trying to approach them in the street, you're going to get leathered. But most girls aren't like that, are they? Most girls don't train like that and don't have the skills to fight you off or even knock you out, So you've got to understand, guys, that these girls they're vulnerable in the middle of the night like that. They're, you know, as I say, some aren't, so please don't come for me, but most would be, and at least probably scared, and at the very least, very concerned. Yeah, and understandably so. To be honest with you, as I said, I'm a big old unit. I'm 20 stone and 6'2", and I'm not shy. Do you know what I mean? But if I was walking through, let's say, Sale or I don't know, Withenshaw, Moss Side, anywhere at 1 o'clock in the morning, and there's a guy in a hoodie and a face covering of some kind because it's cold, heading towards me, I'd be a little bit. My bottle would be twitching a bit as well. Let me tell you, but not as much as a young girl, that's for sure. So, yeah, do us a favour, guys. Put it in the comments. I'd really love to know what you all think of that because my daughter's really changed my mind on it, as I say, I was going to just say, yeah, you need to do this, guys. You need to do that. Nah, maybe I'm a little bit out of touch with that at the moment. Yeah, let me know. I'd really love to know what you want, as many as you can, because I want to get a cross-reference going on, and let's see what some of the girls think. Let's see what some of the guys think. And, you know, keep it nice, keep it clean, all of that. But give me your genuine thoughts of what you would do in that situation if you were the girl, for the ladies, and if you're the guy, for the guys. Let me know what you'd do. I'm really genuinely interested, and then we can share it. Put it back out there in a follow-up episode and see where the land lies, you know? So, hopefully, I think most girls today are smart anyway, and I don't think they'd put themselves in that position without thinking. But we've all done silly things in the heat of the moment when adrenaline's flowing and you've had a row and you've stormed off. And all of a sudden you realise, and it was the party was at a friend of your boyfriend, and you can't even remember where it is now. So you can't even go back. So now you're genuinely stuck. Can you imagine how you'd feel? Can you imagine how it's feel for the older guys watching this, and for parents of, I'm 60, parents of my age, etc., or 50-year-old parents that have got a teenage girl out there. How would you feel if it was your daughter? I personally would hope that she would come across somebody like me. And I'm sure 9 times out of 10 they would be like me, and not wishing her any harm, and certainly not got any bad intentions. But it's just that 1 in 10, isn't it? I don't even know if that's an accurate stat for it or not, but it's certainly common enough for me to be concerned. If my daughters or my sons were out in the middle of the night, not coming home, tried to ring them, the phone's dead, I would be scared. I've done it, in fact. My daughters will tell you I used to peck their heads more than the lads. And yet, weirdly, my daughters have never been touched by anybody like that, but one of my sons was attacked out once, and he got hit in the face with bricks and all kinds. So it can happen to both, and I'm not saying for a moment that it doesn't, but there's definitely an extra string of vulnerability when you're a female. I think there has to be, just the natural strength of some guys, So yeah, let me know. I really would love you to let me know, and look out for more episodes coming up, and don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Please share it on your socials for me. It's really going to help the channel. We can get more of this stuff out there, and we can have an open, candid discussion. I'm going to have some people in the studio sometimes and talk about all these kinds of issues. So coming up next episode, this is the Sunday episode, as you know. You're watching it right now. So the next one on Wednesday is going to be about how to change the wheel of a car safely, properly, given the circumstances that you might be in if you're on the other side of a motorway or whatever. I'll talk about that in the next episode. But in the meantime, guys, please do me a favour. Just like it. Please subscribe first of all. Like the videos that I put up, and share them on your socials for me. It's really going to help, guys, and then we can get more and more of this done. Yeah. So. All right, it's not quite 20 minutes, but it's been about 15 minutes, I think. So, yeah, that's it for this one. Please let me know what you do in that situation, and I can't wait to read the comments. I just hope there is some, and let's have a read and see what we can come up with. Yeah, all right. See you on the next one, guys. Take care.